Got some Detroit Lions news for you folks. The Lions waived a player. They signed a player. We're going to be talking about, 4 free agent players the Lions could sign on the offensive line. And great news for one of our quarterbacks on our football team. So we're going to get into it. A lot to cover in this video. Before we get into the video, if you're not a subscriber, smash that subscribe button. Trying to get to 8,000 subscribers. The more subscribers we get, the more chance that this channel grows and content gets pushed out there. Guess what? Dan Campbell believes and says what we all been thinking. What Stephon Gilmore did out there was very encouraging to him in the preseason game against the Jacksonville Jaguars. A lot of negatives in that game, at least for the backup role. But one of the not negative was Gilmore out there balling out, made a mistake, improved, and got an interception. He just showed his ability to stay with the wide receiver in coverage, and it was absolutely good to watch. I love what I seen it there. So hopefully, he does that again in preseason week 3, because if he does, he's probably making this football team, and it'd be really nice to have another Jerry Jacobs situation where an undrafted guy kind of comes out of nowhere, makes an impact, is a player for this football team. Now, look, he wouldn't be the starter at all. We got pretty good depth at the corner position, but there's going to be injuries throughout the season, and you want to have depth players. He's an individual I think has a higher ceiling, so it is very encouraging. I'm happy that fans are seeing it. I'm happy that the coaching staff's seeing it, and I'm happy for Gilmore himself. Again, make sure you go ahead and subscribe to the channel. We're trying to get to 8,000 subscribers, and with your help, it absolutely can happen. Now, article came out here from Sideline Report. Go ahead and check out Brad Berryman, his article talking about 4 free agent offensive linemen that the Detroit Lions should look to sign. If you don't know, or if you're living under a rock, the Lions' backup offensive line is booty cheeks. It hasn't done anything so far in training camp as well as in preseason to show any sort of comfort with the backup role. There's been a few good things, but all in all, the depth for the offensive line has been pretty atrocious. It's very evident that the Lions need to upgrade the backup role for that positional group. So Brad Berryman came out with some free agent players that the Lions should sign. One of the guys here, Justin Pugh, individual there from the Arizona Cardinals. He was on multiple teams as well, veteran. Would he be an upgrade over what we have? Yeah, I'll take him over Matt Nelson. I'll take him over pretty much anybody at this point right now. The Lions need help at this position. Now, injuries, of course, hit the guy, and it happens to a lot of individuals, but he's removed from the injury, and we're talking about a backup role. I think it would be a low-end contract, nothing really to worry about at all in regards to that. I'm just going to keep it 100, and it's going to be an upgrade. So I'm fine with that if the Lions were to go to that move. Obviously, we all know Jason Peters here. The guy played for the Dallas Cowboys for 500 years. He's an Pro Bowl offensive tackle, but obviously he is not at that caliber now. He would be dictated to a backup role. Would you take him over Matt Nelson? Is that even a question? Absolutely I would. 100%. I think at the age of 41 right now, he's way better than Matt Nelson. And he can come in at a pinch if there is some sort of injury and can do a much better job for the Lions. It's not going to cost a lot to get this guy. He doesn't need to be in the training camp. He can come in. He's good to go. He's been doing this forever. I would be fine with that. As a backup role, hell yeah. As a starter, absolutely not. I think it would be a good move for the Lions to do something of that nature here. Oday Aboushi, he's a former Detroit Lion. We all know who he is. He's been on the team, and he's an individual that can come in. I'm not big Oday Ibushi fan, but he is an upgrade over what we got right now. It is. It's not a big upgrade, but it is an upgrade. Any upgrade that you can get. In all honesty, I'd probably pass on Oday Ibushi and just wait for other teams to cut players. I think that's the number one option right now, is wait for teams to cut players. When players are cut, you can snag some of these individuals. John Kaminsky comes to mind, right? So, not saying that every player is going to be a John Kaminsky. Not saying every player is going to come out and be an integral part at all, but at least you can get maybe a young player that has a higher upside than what we have right now. But, hey, I mean, he is out there. We got Joe Hag here. Right now, he could do probably the guard position. I'll wait on it. I'll pass on this one. I think the Lions, again, this would be another 53-man roster. Find someone who's cut. I do like Colby Sorsdale. Is he ready to play right now? No, he's still raw. But obviously, he's got an upside as a young player. I personally probably just go in that direction. But hey, these are players the Lions could look at. Let me know in the comment section what you think on those guys. The Detroit Lions waived Mohamed Ibrahim, signed safety Scott Nelson. I started to feel that Mo's time in Detroit was over after the first preseason game. I felt like Snell was doing a little bit better job. Then obviously he got injured with Mo. And at that point, I think it was inevitable that Ibrahim was no longer going to be on this football team. So I'm not shocked at all that the Lions cut him and in favor of anybody right now. I mean, they're just the back end of the roster. You should pretty much just sign anybody. They signed safety Scott Nelson. I'm not even going to get into signing the player. He's not going to make the team. About 99.9% chance he's not making the team. It's camp body. But this is what you do, right? You release a player, see if somebody else can come in and do something and play well. Maybe Ibrahim ends up being on the practice squad at some point. That could be a possibility. I know he's dinged up, but him as the number 4 after the first week of preseason, it seemed extremely unlikely, and it was just a matter of time before he was cut. And I think it really is coming down to Jermar Jefferson and Snell. I think those two are going to battle it out. I feel like Snell, to me, has the higher ceiling, but maybe they do like Jermar Jefferson because he can do the pass game as well. It really just depends what they like. Another article came out and saying that Craig Reynolds is the possibility of being cut. I don't see that at all. I don't know where the article was. It popped up. I don't even have it on here. Craig Reynolds, to me, is the number 3. I think it's hands down number 3. I think it's pretty much a lock at this point. Craig Reynolds is pretty much a do-it-all back. He's not great at one thing, but he's good at a lot of things, and that's a good individual to have for a number 3. If there is an injury, you can use his abilities for both Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. Now, he's not fast at all like Jahmyr Gibbs, and he's not as strong as David Montgomery, but he's an individual that can play a little bit of everybody's game. So I do think that's what it's coming down to for sure. Great news here in Hendon Hooker. Now, I heard this from Dave Birkett as well as my guy Jeff Risden, that he's looking really good, and he may get placed on a list, but at some point this year he's going to get activated. I think, again, it's the Jameson Williams situation. I know Dan Campbell said he would have a redshirt year. Guess what? I don't think that's the case. I think he's ahead of schedule. He'll get activated at some point. And that's great news for the Detroit Lions backup position because Hendon Hooker is a damn good quarterback, and I think he'd be great at a backup role in Detroit behind Teddy Bridgewater. Let him sit. Him being activated is important. Like, what if you do get a situation where Jared Goff goes down, Teddy Bridgewater goes down? Do you want to pick up a Nate Sudfeld, or would you rather have a Hendon Hooker? I'm taking Hendon Hooker 1,000 out of 1,000 times. That's not even close. I'm going Hendon Hooker time now. So, great news that he's ahead of schedule. I mean, we've been hearing it all training camp, right? That after practice, he's throwing the football, he's running around, He's going, he's moving with his legs, and he's testing his ankles and all that stuff. So we knew it with all the reporting going on, but now this pretty much confirms it. Love it. Love that our third-round pick is almost ready to don a uniform and see this, guys. I like seeing players come back from injury. I like seeing good players be able to be on this team and not injured. I think that's really important. So shout out to Hendon Hooker for getting the work in, and it's just going to make our team better. It's going to make our team 100% better. But he'll get placed on some sort of list where he'll miss a couple games, as we all know. So he'll keep up a roster spot, and then at some point he'll get activated, and whoever took that final spot will go ahead and get released. That's just how this thing operates. And happy that the Hook is getting real close to be able to be back for our Detroit Lions. Make sure you go ahead and subscribe to the channel, trying to get to 8,000 subscribers. Subscribe. Why? Because we're trying to get to 8K. The more subscribers, the more chance that the channel blows up, and that's what we want. With that said, folks, adios.